What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the Here Report. Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Omer Yurtseven and his potential fit in the Miami Heat's future front court. Now, I don't think I've ever really made a dedicated video to Omer Yurtseven apart from the video where we signed him, and that turned out to be my most viewed video on this channel so far. So you guys seem to be huge Omer Yurtseven fans, so I'm going to be making another video about him. And I've gotten a lot of questions about his potential fit with Bam in the front court in the future, so we're going to be talking about analyzing Omer Yurtseven's skills, what he can improve on, and how he can be our starting center of the future along with Bam being our power forward. So we're going to be talking about that. Before we get into it though, make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. We are only, I'm pretty sure, about 30 subscribers away from 1,400, so let's get to that mark as soon as possible. You guys know what to do, man. Use that comment section as frequently as possible, and also hit up the Twitter in the description, and also the pinned comment as well. So let's get right into it, man. So Omer Yurtseven, like I said, I haven't really made a dedicated video about this guy. I think that's kind of disrespectful. He's been showing out, he did show out in the summer league that ended about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And yeah, he was playing really well. I did talk about him in like bits and pieces while talking about the summer league games in general, but I didn't really give a video about me breaking down how he can fit with our team in the future, because I think this is a very interesting piece, and he's another guy that I think is a wild card, another guy that people weren't really expecting to do what he's been doing in summer league. And also, this has been very exciting as a Heat fan, and I'm pretty sure it's excited you guys as well, because he is a guy that we've seen, and everyone thinks he has a future playing alongside Bam in our front court in the future. So we're going to be talking about him, man. We're going to be talking about, like I said, what he can improve on, what are his strengths, and how I think he will be used not only this year but also in the future as well. So Omer Yurtseven, like I said, if you did miss my first video about him, which was a while ago when we first signed him on the rosters from the OKC G League team, please go watch that. I did, from the hours of film I watched, I did give my analysis about what I think he's good at and how he can help this team, player comparisons, etc. And what he's doing right now has not really surprised me. Obviously, I did not expect him to show out this much in summer league, but as far as the skill set that he's been showing is everything that I've seen in his G League film and his college film. I'm really surprised that no other team had really picked him up before we did, and he's kind of gone unnoticed until the summer league. So the thing about Omer Yurtseven that excites a lot of people is his ability to stretch the floor, and that's the main thing that people really talk about when it comes to Omer Yurtseven, is his very beautiful touch around the rim. He's a very he's not like a athletic player, but he's a very sound player technically. He's a very good player that can use finesse close to the basket. He has very nice touch around the basket, and he can definitely stretch the floor, put the ball on the floor sometimes, make a couple of plays. He's a very good mid-range shooter, but an extremely good three-point shooter for his position. He's a very good face-up player. His face-up game reminds me a lot of LaMarcus Aldridge, and I think at the best case, if he could kind of be like a Walmart version of a LaMarcus Aldridge, because we're not expecting a guy who was undrafted and who wasn't really picked up by a team so far to become a LaMarcus Aldridge. It's not realistic for Heat fans or any fan to just think that he's going to come out and start dominating in the NBA, because that's just not how it's working, and that's not how it's going to work. He did put up 91 points in an under 18 game. He was very good at Georgetown after transferring from NC State, and he was really good in the G League, average about 16 and 10 if I'm not mistaken. So the talent has always been there for him, but I don't want Heat fans to come to think that he's going to come out and start lighting things up in the NBA. He hasn't played a single NBA minute yet, so it's going to take him a little bit of time to adjust. But already I can see his face-up game being transitioning to the NBA level because of his shooting touch and his shooting ability. He's also a very good decision maker. Handling the ball could improve a little bit. He turns the ball over a little bit while he's handling the ball, but when you're that big, you're not expected to handle the ball that much. He just had a bigger role in summer league, so he's probably not going to be asked to do that in the NBA. So I think that Omer Yurtseven has a nice future with this Heat team. You know, how I think he's going to be used this year is very, very interesting. Obviously, the Heat re-signed Dewayne Dedmon back to a one-year deal this year, so I do think that Dewayne Dedmon will be our backup center. But, you know, with the additions of PJ Tucker, Markieff Morris, and also with Bam being our star center, max player, I don't really see him getting that many minutes. You know, I'd be pretty surprised if he's a big part of our rotation, because I just don't see where he's going to get the minutes from with the personnel we already have on the roster. You know, unless you're moving one of these guys to play, you know, the 3, and having Omer Yurtseven come off the bench and play alongside Dewayne Dedmon, which I don't think will happen either. There could be some games where he plays as backup center instead of Dewayne Dedmon, but I doubt that will happen, especially after we saw Dewayne Dedmon just come in and, you know, he was really, really impressive. So I don't think that he will be, I don't think his minutes will be taken. And you know, there could be a way where one of the guys we just signed, you know, Tucker, Morris, if they're not playing, then he could get some run out there. But I don't see him being used as much this season as a lot of people think he will be, just because of the personnel we have on this roster. But I do think after Dewayne Dedmon's contract expires, the plan will probably be to have Omer Yurtseven be a full-time backup center, maybe even starting at the 4. You know, if PJ Tucker is getting up there in age, and if you want Bam and Yurtseven, or maybe even re-sign Dewayne Dedmon and let Morris go, and then have PJ Tucker and Dewayne Dedmon come off the bench. So there's a lot of options with this that could, you know, happen. But I do think that you're going to see Omer Yurtseven's minutes next year rather than this year, because I do think one of Morris or Dedmon is not going to be on the roster next year, because they're both on one-year deals. And I think it's very unlikely that we re-sign both of them to long-term contracts after the end of this year. So expect Omer Yurtseven to get most of his minutes next season rather than this season, just because I think he'll get more minutes opened up for him. I do think he has the potential to be a guy who can play alongside Bam in the future. Like I said, because of his shooting touch, he's a very good rebounder. Naturally, he's a glass cleaner. You know, he was having 20 rebound, 19 rebound, 15 rebound games in the summer league, and you know, it's going to be tougher to do that in the NBA. He did average a double-double in college and in the G League, so rebounding comes naturally to him. But you know, that's why I didn't want to give him the Brook Lopez comparison, because Brook Lopez is not really the best rebounder for his size. But who knows, it might not translate to the NBA, because NBA is a lot more physical, and he might not be used to the physicality. But then again, he's played in one of the toughest leagues. He's been, you know, part of the Turkish Super League, which is, if you ask anyone, that's where Alperen Sengun played, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, that's a very, very tough league. You know, that's not an easy league whatsoever. You know, I'm familiar with that league because we've seen guys. I'm pretty sure Mike James played in Russia, but I know Alperen Sengun played there. A couple of other guys played there as well, and they've talked about how tough that league is. You know, it's pretty physical as well. So maybe he's already adapted to it. But you know, the NBA is obviously at another level compared to every other league in the world. So he's gonna have to probably bulk up a little bit, put on some muscle. He did slim down. You know, he did slim down. I've seen that based off his college pictures and his college film and stuff like that. He has slimmed down, which is probably the result of the heat conditioning program. But maybe put on some muscle. You know, just try to, you know, just get more physical down low, because he's gonna have to be a good rebounder at 7 feet, especially because, you know, if Bam is going to be out there guarding the perimeter, or Bam is going to be out there handling the ball, you don't really have a guy down there who's going to be doing the, you know, cleaning the glass. And Omer Yurtseven is going to have to be that guy, especially, you know, if he wants to play alongside Bam in the future. On the defensive end, he's not the best. I do think that he has a lot of improvement on the defensive end that he can make. You know, his foot speed is not the best. He tends to get, sometimes he tends to get blown by. He's not the fastest, most agile whatsoever. But I do think that if he's playing alongside Bam in the future, he doesn't have to worry about that, because Bam is one of the best defensive, you know, front court players in the NBA. And I think that Bam is the perfect guy to play alongside, even if you're not a good defender, which, you know, I think can be hidden because you're playing alongside Bam and you're playing in the Heat system, and the Heat usually find a way to hide guys who are bad defenders by doing some trapping, blitzing, whatever whatever everything, the Spo has come up with to hide bad defenders over the years, I don't think that's a huge issue. I just think that he just has to improve on that end, not get bullied down low, just improve his foot speed, which I think he will be after, the heat conditioning program, the results of that. So I do think that Omer Yurtseven does have a big, possibility of being the Heat's longtime starting center. Now, notice how I said center, not power forward, because the reason I said center and not power forward is because I think Bam will be the power forward of the future if Yurtseven is the center, because Bam was a power forward coming out of college, in my eyes. I know he probably might have played center in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, but when he was recruited, he was a power forward. He played small ball center. He's been playing small ball center his whole career in Miami. He's played very little power forward in this Heat team, but I do think that that's his natural position. He doesn't have to guard the bigger players. I think the Bam is almost perfect defensively, but against bigger guys, sometimes he struggles because he doesn't have the height. He's very, very strong, but people can just sometimes shoot right over him because he's not the tallest. He's 6'9", 6'10", and if you're banging against 7-footers down low, or playing against really, really lengthy players who can shoot over you, you're gonna be at a disadvantage. And I think Bam has to focus on guarding power forwards rather than centers, because I think that's the best type of position to play him at, because he can guard anyone at the power forward position, and he can definitely score on anyone at the power forward position, because they're number one, power forwards are not as big or strong as centers. So if you want Bam to get some touches down low, he can do that. And number two, he can also hurt you with the mid-range jump shot. And then you have Yurtseven being the 5. So I think that I do see chances of Yurtseven being a long-term starting center for us, but I just think that we have to be patient with this man. We can't expect him to just come in and just be just be a guy that is going to tear things up right away. It's going to take him some time. He was an undrafted player for a reason. He's going to need some experience, playing, whether it's not going to be in the G League because we signed him to a regular contract, but he's going to need some experience before he's thrown into that starting center role. So I do think he has a talent. I just think he has to refine his defensive skill set. He's just his foot speed, etc. And then offensively, he has all the tools to be a guy who can complement Bam perfectly. So I think that's my take on Omer Yurtseven, man. I think that he's a very skilled NBA player already, and I do think that once he plays against NBA competition, gets more physical down low, gets better on the defensive end, improves the agility, and maintains his touch, his finesse, his shooting touch, his three-point stroking ability, you have a player right there who I think can be a very, very important piece to our team in the future. So that's what I have to say about Yurtseven, man. Let me know what your thoughts are about him in the comment section down below. We have a lot of Yurtseven fans, which, it's very self-explanatory why. He's a very entertaining player to watch. He kind of came out of nowhere in the summer league, so it was a very entertaining thing for a lot of people to watch him. But yeah, this is my take on Omer Yurtseven. Let me know what you disagree, agree with in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you guys later as always, man. Have a nice day. Peace.